went to therapy, what were some of the aha moments that you received at that time?
Yeah, I would say, well, my healing journey was a combination of therapy and a lot of self-help. Like I read a ton of books about connecting to your body. I read the book Intuitive Eating, which was really helpful to get a better handle of my relationship with food. Therapy I actually went to for like kind of generalized anxiety because I was dealing with some family stuff. And I mean, it's all kind of related. So we didn't have any of the body image issues in therapy. We addressed like perfectionism, being hard on yourself. We addressed those kinds of things, but they were all kind of related.
Mm-hmm. And that's really interesting because perfectionism and holding yourself accountable to such a higher level and standard where you feel guilty or you're beating yourself up for something is all related to other aspects of your life too, which is eating in a way where now you have an unhealthy relationship with food. And so what were some of the takeaways which really helped you overcome the disorder or your unhealthy relationship, not even disorder per se, and then helped you get into that industry of now I'm going to change other people's lives?
Like I said first, a lot of it was education, like learning. I was working with my own coach too, and just learning like how to fuel my body properly and not myself. From the psychology side, a lot of it was just learning to value myself in other ways. When you're struggling with these types of things, there's sort of two things going on. One is like overvaluation of body image compared to everything else. You kind of feel like your body is the most important thing about you, and you think that other people think that too. So, when I was going out with my friends, I would obsess about what to wear. It felt like so important what I looked like. And part of my healing journey was just learning that did not matter. Like, my friends did not care what I wore. I don't care what they wear. I don't even remember what they wore yesterday. Right? So learning to value myself in other ways than just my appearance, as well as like outside achievements. It's not just looks, it's like, money and career and school and like all the things that you're taught as a Desi person, South Asian person to value. You kind of have to learn how to build up your self-worth in other ways. I think eating disorders are often like a control thing. Like you feel like it's one thing you can control, and it's like learning to let go of control a little bit was big. And then the last piece was learning to feel connected to my body. So when you are on these diets or have all these arbitrary food rules, you're eating based on outside cues, right? You're eating because you eat no carbs, and you're not listening to your body, or you're kind of overriding your body's internal cues. So a lot of my own healing journey was learning how to connect to my own hunger and fullness cues. We all have those internal cues, right? If you've ever seen a toddler eat, what do? When they're full, they literally throw their food around. They just, they don't eat. When they're hungry, they cry. They know when they're hungry, they're full. But as adults, those cues get so overridden with emotions, stress. We eat for reasons other than hunger. With diets, right? We eat because the diet's telling us to, not because we're hungry or full, which is so many other things, social events, all this stuff. So I read this book called Intuitive Eating, which was written by two dietitians to help women. And they really helped me. That book really helped me learn how to connect back to my own satiety.
I love that. So it's learning to value yourself in other ways. And so what are some of those ways that you started valuing yourself outside of the paradigm that was set for you?
I would say the ways that I learned to value myself are in my abilities and like my intellect and ability to like connect with people, like kind of go-getter, self-starter attitude with like starting a business, creativity, all of those aspects.
And then letting go of control, I think, is such a hard thing for most of us, because especially if you're type A perfectionist, letting go of control of whatever the situation might be is very tough. So how did you, in a tangible way, do that?
Yeah, I think that was a journey, a work in process. But there's a lot of like different exercises you can do. One exercise I have clients do is when they're feeling really stressed out is to draw a line on a piece of paper, and on one side of the line, just write down everything you're stressed out about on a piece of paper, and then pick out of those things, what are the things that are in your control and what are the things that are out of your control. And I think that really helps focus your center of attention into only the things that you can control, and just kind of like accept that there are things out of your control.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of like rehashing, just repeating what you had said earlier. So connecting to your body and really listening to your body. I think it was such a great analogy what you gave about the toddler, because, you know, as little kids, we're always, or parents, you know, we're trying to like force feed our children. And one of the best advice my mom gave me was like, they're never going to go hungry. They're going to eat. Just don't like run after them, because you're now forcing them. And we don't realize that their stomachs are like so small and tiny. And we're just like, and that was one thing I am trying to do with my kids, was that I wanted to, from the beginning, have a healthy relationship with food. And I'm not necessarily the best at it, but at the same time, I don't want them to feel like they can't eat this, they can't eat that. But I'm like, we need to have a balanced diet, whatever that might be. You can go eat your chips, but we need a balanced diet. So now fast forward, you're a certified personal trainer and a nutritionist and a coach. When did you get that certification?
In 2017.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love your platform. I mean, I follow you on Instagram, and I think that's how I even first found out about you. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great, because I know that you know, it's really nice to actually even see, as Indian, you know, the food that we eat is really important. But then also you're like, how do I get away from this? Because this is what we eat. I don't know what to like replace it with. But you give such great tips on that. And, you know, I've actually shared your post, whether it's a screenshot or not, and I've just like sent it out to my family members and friends as well. Because it's a very common question, at least among South Asians. Is there a nutritionist that is South Asian because they understand our food? So,
Yeah,
and
thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad we were able to connect, and I appreciate your help too with the legal aspects of our business.
yeah. So I always ask my guests that, what are some legal aspects that you wish you had known about, or you're like, oh crap, that was terrible. And I always ask them like, so help us out here, like share a little bit of your legal journey as well.
That's a good question. I'm grateful that I have not got into any super hairy legal situations yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I wish I had done differently is more robust client contracts, because we have clients who, you know, they'll pay and then something will happen and they'll want a refund, but they won't ask for it until like week 8 out of 12. And it's like, you just did 8 weeks of coaching, you're not going to give you a refund, and then they get upset and things like that. So I think really good, and we're working on this now, right? So I think really good, robust client contracts and expectations in the beginning will help just make everything really clear.
Yeah, I bet, because I feel like, you know, in coaching, especially if it's like health and fitness, people are expecting to look like a bikini model at the end of the day. And it's kind of like, well, no, that can't be for everybody, because your body type is inherently not like that. So, and I think you're right. And I'm so glad we've been able to work together on that aspect of your business. It's been really, really fun working, and really also understanding the health and fitness industry as well along the way. So this has been really cool. Now, how are you disrupting your industry? What are you doing that is just creating waves in what you're doing?
First is culturally sensitive health coaching and nutrition coaching specifically. There really aren't too many coaches that focus on a South Asian demographic. Not all of our clients are South Asian, but the majority are. And we have a lot of resources for South Asian women, nutrition resources, recipes, all of that. The second is, and this is why I named it Boss Body Revolution, is really a revolution against diet culture and these stereotypical diets that women go on when they want to lose weight. Like, women want to lose weight. I want them not to think first of like, oh, should I do keto or Atkins or whatever, cut carbs, but instead like focus on shifting their habits, their behaviors, eating the right amounts for their body instead of starving, being in education, like understanding, yes, I might need to be in a slight caloric deficit, but it doesn't need to be
Like a full on, let me eliminate everything from my diet. Yeah. I've learned so much through this entire conversation with you. And I love that you are promoting so much, like a healthy relationship with your body and with the food intake, and just living a lifestyle that suits you best. And I love that about your platform.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, I mean, it's truly amazing, and everybody should check you out. And what are some ways that people can connect with you?
Yeah, check out my Instagram. My handle is Dee_Gautham, Gautham. You can check out my website, www.bossbodyrevolution.com. We have a bunch of free downloads on there you can get. If you're interested in coaching, you can press the apply button and book a call with my team.
Of course, I'm going to have everything in the show notes so people can access you through that as well. So before we say bye, though, what is your favorite? I know you talked a lot about self-help and books. So which one was the one that really made such an impact in your life?
I would say, I think that book, Intuitive Eating, it was, it's not, the principles that I use to coach. I don't do that fully to coach clients, because if you do desire weight loss, intuitive eating is not always the best strategy to get there. But for kind of healing your relationship with food, connecting back to your body, that was the best book that I read.
Awesome. And I'll have that in the show notes as well. And are you a coffee or a tea drinker?
I do coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon.
Nice. Herbal or like caffeinated?
Usually caffeinated, but it depends on what time. Like if it's like 6, 7 p.m., I'll try and drink herbal tea. I do like drinking fennel water at the end of the day before I go to bed, just to help me.
Yeah, I think there's so many nutritional benefits of fennel. So that's awesome. And just before, last question, your favorite biz tools, whether it's an app or systems that you use for your business?
I mean, Instagram. But I think other than that, I like TikTok. I've been getting on TikTok and making TikToks. I like Canva tool. I really use that a lot.
Yeah, Canva's amazing. I use it like all the time. It's been such a lifesaver also, and makes me feel somewhat techie and, graphically inclined. So, well, thank you so much for being with us today. Everybody connect with Dee online. She is literally the person that talks back to you if you do email her or message her. She's awesome, and she has such great tips. And thank you so much for being with us here today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, and it was great chatting with you all.